started my decluttering journey about 4 years ago, and I have loved sharing the process. So today, let's take a look back, and I want to share some of my best decluttering tips. I am calling this the sticky notes decluttering method. To get started with this method, you need 4 different colors of sticky notes and a pen. And on the first color, it does not matter, pick whichever color you want. You're gonna write 5 minutes. 5 minutes, make like 2 or 3 of these different stickies. Then on the next color, you're gonna write 10 minutes. You could also do 10 to 15 minutes. Make a few of these. Then on the third color, you're going to write 30 minutes. You could also do 20 to 30 minutes. So basically you're just making chunks of time, blocking out chunks of time. And then on the very last one, you're gonna write 1 hour and make a few of these. So it's really, really simple to get this set up. Okay, now I'm gonna help you place these around your house. I'm gonna let you know what good 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, and 1 hour tasks are. And we're gonna look inside some of my drawers. Let's go ahead and get the sticky notes that I have made up, and I'll take you around the house and show you where to place them. Starting with 5-minute tasks, this is gonna be like one shelf in your house, one drawer, maybe all your t-shirts would be, one drawer. The very front of your refrigerator, not inside, but the front of your fridge where you have magnets and maybe kids' artwork. And then maybe one surface area, so one section of the kitchen counter or maybe your bathroom counter. So anything really small that you think would take you only 5 minutes, and let me know in a comment, are there any more 5-minute quick tasks that you feel like you could do? Let us know, because I think it'd be helpful for all of us to get as many ideas as possible. I have been through my entire house several times over the past year and a half, but there are still these areas that I know I can get into and declutter. And sometimes we just need that visual reminder. You have 5 extra minutes while you're waiting for the doctor to call you back. You've got 5 minutes before the laundry is done and you can start folding. Wherever you find these little pockets, and you might be tempted to like sit down and get on your phone because you only have this little section of time, you can look around your house and go ahead and take one of those stickies off and start decluttering that space. A good example of a 10-minute task would be underneath the kitchen sink. And you have to just look at your own space and see what you think. This might only take you 5 minutes. It might be a 30-minute task depending. So just kind of use your judgment based on what your house looks like. But I'm gonna say for me, that is 10 minutes, and I'm gonna leave that sticky note there until I get that done. This is my everything drawer, my junk drawer, my utility drawer. It is always needing to be decluttered and organized. So for me, this is 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that there. This is the current status of my coat closet. It's not terrible, but it is not amazing. So I would love to go through these shoes. We've outgrown some of them. Some of them we're not wearing. We're about to switch seasons, in a little bit, so I can really get an idea of what we have for shopping for the fall. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 10 minutes. Every time I open this closet door, I'm gonna be reminded that I need to take 10 minutes and go through these shoes. Some other ideas for 10 minutes would be a nightstand underneath your bathroom sink, a linen closet inside the fridge. Maybe put a sticky note right inside the fridge. You can see it right when you open it up, just to remind you. Maybe you can go through your car, a section of your car in 10 minutes. So put a sticky in your car. But let me know, what other 10-minute tasks do you think you could use for this system? So don't put 20 sticky notes all around your house and freak yourself out. You're just gonna do maybe 3 to 5 sticky notes at a time throughout this process. And you're gonna decide which sticky note time blocks to use based on how busy you are that week. We are moving on to 20 to 30 minute tasks. I am gonna peek into my pantry. I actually went through this not too long ago. For me, this is probably a 10 minute, but if yours hasn't been gone through in a while, this might be for you a 30-minute task. And again, just put it right in front of you. You want to make this very easy. Like, you aren't having to think about this. It's so obvious that you need to spend 30 minutes in here. You can't deny it. You can't ignore it. And that is the point. You want this to stare you in the face and kind of bug you until it's done. So you're making these tasks really, really obvious and kind of taking the guesswork out of it, because you're not wondering, should I organize my pantry? Yes! Going through the dishware in your kitchen can take a little while. Here's what I've got. Now for me, this is not a decluttering situation, but an organizing situation. So that is another way that you could maybe use these sticky notes, is that I need to spend maybe 5 to 10 minutes organizing. But if you haven't decluttered your kitchen space, get all of your pots and pans sorted through. And if I hadn't done much, it would take me about 30 minutes. But for me, this is an organizing project. So the next time I have 30 minutes, I'm gonna go through and try and organize every single kitchen cabinet that houses any kind of dishware. So if you've also kind of advanced past the beginning decluttering stages, or you've recently decluttered, then use this as an organization system. I organized my spices not too long ago, but this was a little bit of a longer project. So if your spices are not organized, categorized, and laid out really simply, maybe spend about 30 minutes getting that done. That really is nice to have. Other examples of 30-minute projects would be the kids' toys, the kids' books, maybe the games, an area in your closet like just the clothes or just the shoes or just the jewelry. So some type of closet category might be great for that 30-minute block. All right, I have a quick tip for you. When you're decluttering, always have a trash bag. You've got to have this with you, otherwise the trash might not get taken out of the area you're trying to declutter. So that's what I love to use like grocery bags for, or you can just use a tall garbage sack, whatever you want. And then when it comes to your decluttered items, I love these black garbage bags. I don't even know what these originally are used for. We put our cut grass in them, but I really love them because you cannot see what you've decluttered. And that's really good if you're often tempted to pull stuff back out, and then always have a little like trash bag with you. We are now onto the 1 hour categories of your home. This might be areas in your garage, sentimental items, kids' clothing that you've been storing that they've outgrown, like baby gear, stuff like that. Maybe any collections you have or seasonal decor. That can take a little bit more time. But here's the thing, if you're decluttering in your garage, if the 1 hour sticker is in your garage is what I'm saying, if it's in the basement, you're not actually going to be looking at it all the time. So what I would do is I would put this somewhere where you're going to see it, and you're actually going to write underneath what area you'd like to go through. I need to spend an hour going through the totes in the basement, so I'm gonna go ahead and write basement totes on here and then put it on my nightstand where I'm gonna see it every single morning when I wake up as a reminder to get this done the second I have an hour pocket of time. You are physically, actually, and literally going to need a shoebox. The reason I love this decluttering method is because it works if your house is extremely cluttered, if you are very easily overwhelmed, if you don't have a lot of time, if you don't like making a big mess, if you don't know where to start, if you're a serious procrastinator, if you're really hesitant to purge ruthlessly, this is another super good strategy. This is also great because it lets you see very visually what your boundary is, and there is a clear decluttering goal for each day. This one is great because it is a low stress, slow but steady decluttering process that really helps you form solid decluttering habits. And I feel like that is the biggest element for success in decluttering, is forming good habits, because this has to be an ongoing process. No one is ever truly done decluttering if they want to live clutter-free. So I will talk more about that in a minute, but to get started, you need a shoebox size. It doesn't actually have to be a box. A plastic tub that you could get at the dollar store that's about this size would also work fabulously. All right, so to get yourself set up for the shoebox decluttering method, you are going to need a shoebox, a trash bag. You're also going to need a relocate bin, some kind of box for donations. This is one that we had since our move. It's in really bad shape, but it works great for donating. Like I mentioned, what you're trying to do with this particular strategy is develop super good decluttering habits. And truly, the only way to do that is to do it every single day. I know that sounds overwhelming and you think, but I don't have a lot of time. How am I gonna do this every single day? You only need 30 minutes. And before you freak out, because 30 minutes can sound like a lot, this is like 2% of your day. You're gonna get your little shoebox and you are gonna pick an area of your home that only has tiny items. This would be like a junk drawer, cosmetics, a desk with pens and magnets. You are going to fill your shoebox. Once it's full, you are totally done with that area for today. Pull out any trash. I love to eliminate trash first because it really helps just cut down the bulk, the volume, and it helps you more easily see what you actually do want to keep or what needs to be relocated. So get rid of trash first, and then you're going to just start setting things into their categories. I'm going to donate this, I'm going to relocate this, and then everything else that's going to be left in the shoebox is what you're going to be putting back into said area, junk drawer, makeup counter, whatever. So go ahead and get all of that done, get everything kind of categorized. Then you're going to obviously put back the relocation items. Okay, here's another thing I wanted to mention. If you are putting away your relocate items and the area, see this is a mess. The area that you're relocating to is a disaster, completely ignore it. You are going to get to this area. Don't worry, every single area of your home you are going to go through. So don't get distracted by now trying to organize this area, any area in your relocate section of your house. Ignore its current state, unless of course you've gotten to the point where you've actually organized and decluttered that area. Then just try to organize these items a little bit. But like this has not been organized or decluttered in a while. I'm just gonna throw those in there and wait for another day and wait for when I get to this section of my house. As best you can, put things back into the area that you're working on in an organized way. Try not to just like dump it back in there. If you have the ability to organize at all, this is a really good time to do that. Ignore whatever else is in that area that you still haven't decluttered. It's totally fine. Work around it. This is a process. Do not let yourself stress out about what's still left to do. You're gonna get to it. So 30 minutes, that's about how long this is all gonna take. Once you're done, you're done. That's it, 30 minutes. I love working on decluttering in the morning. I also love doing it in nap time. Night does not work for me because I'm exhausted and I want to veg, and that's the honest truth. I do not want to declutter. So I like to do it when the sun is up. It's invigorating and it propels me forward. So pick a time of day that is really going to be good for you, but this is what you're going to do. You're going to keep going through absolutely every square inch of your house with your shoebox, and you're going to repeat this process over and over again until every little drawer and every little cabinet has been gone through. It doesn't matter if this takes you a week or 2 months. That's not what this is about. It will get done. Just be consistent. Okay, so once you've graduated from the shoebox, you're gonna get another size bin. This one is gonna be significantly larger. All right, so I have this laundry hamper here, and this is a pretty good graduation. The only thing is this one has holes in it, so a box might be better. The other idea I had is to just kind of lay a towel in here so that it covers up the holes if you have a basket with holes as well. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. Get a basket or a bin about this size. So we're going small, medium, large. And let me tell you what kind of things you're going to put in the medium-sized bin. This is gonna be like clothing, kitchen utensils, like big mixing spoons, stuff like that. Media, books, toys, toiletries, socks, stuff like that. You're gonna start working on these areas of your house. And again, whatever is going to fit to the top, put it in there, do the whole process over again, discard trash, relocate, put everything into the donation bin, and then as organized as you can, put it back where it belongs. And everything that you're keeping needs to have a home. That's kind of the trick here. Every single thing that you're keeping has to have a home. If it doesn't have a home, it is clutter in your life, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So yeah, go ahead and fill up your basket. Repeat as many times as needed. Here is an idea of what it's gonna look like when you're done with the medium-sized bin, minus my garbage bag, which I have misplaced. Keeping all of this, I need to hang up some dresses, get some toys put into a toy box. We really like these. And then here's all the stuff that I'm gonna be giving to the donation. So outgrown clothes, some toys we don't play with anymore. And I'm not going to take this to the donation right now because it's not full. This is why a bag is also a good idea, or you could even have a couple of boxes. But this is kind of what it's going to look like. So now we're going to go through and relocate these items and then stash this away for tomorrow. My hamper here is empty. I realize that, but that is not always going to happen. My relocate items were actually all going back into the same room, but you might have relocate items that are going to different parts of your house. So your basket might be still full of stuff, but because I had it all relocate in the same room, I went ahead and just sorted it that way. So my white basket ended up being empty, but that is not always going to be the case. Do you guys get the pattern? All right, so next, let me get my big old box. Let me just show you what my larger bin would look like. This again is an old laundry hamper. This is actually my donation bin. I keep this in the garage and I fill it up with donations, or that box that I just showed you is another one. So just get a larger sized moving hamper, moving box, or laundry hamper. So this is gonna be like coats, shoes, board games, kitchen appliances, pantry items, sweaters, towels, blankets, anything large. Now this is actually not going to take you very long to fill up. If you're working on bigger items, this is going to be super, super quick. So if you want to do this one a couple times in one day, because you might fill this in less than a minute, that's a good idea. Keep going until your energy runs out, or until it's been 30 minutes, or just do it once if you are short on time. That would be amazing. Just go through it one time if that's all you can do. Here's something that you're going to want to do while you're going through like linens and maybe even kitchen appliances. When you get to the bigger stuff, it's going to go faster, but you can fold things. Maybe some things need to be tossed into the washing machine. You could start a load. Maybe some kitchen appliances need to be wiped down that you're going to be keeping and relocating. So spend a little bit of time getting the stuff that you're going to keep in order. Don't just throw it back in. This is part of that organize the area that you're going to be working on. So this is just some stuff from my little closet upstairs where I have games and linens. So things worked out perfectly, but I did need to fold these, and I have a couple of things that I feel like I could even wash. So that is part of this process. That is part of your 30 minutes, is making sure things are all nice and kind of just taken care of properly before you put them back. This is going to get you through your entire house. Every single drawer, nook, cranny, cupboard, space, everything. Your pantry, you can do this with your refrigerator. There is not one area of your home that this isn't going to work with. All right, a couple tips for success. Try not to keep more than one just in case item. Say you have 5 pairs of scissors, only keep one extra. So keep the one that you're gonna be using every day and then one spare. I actually have a bin in my basement full of it's like my life reserve. If I break a bowl, if I can't find the scissors, whatever, things that I get, that I use all the time or that could easily break, I will have one spare in my basement that I can pull from, and this is just called my life reserve. It's like having a store at your house of the things you use most often. I want to give you a few things that you can say that will really help you get through kind of a roadblock when decluttering, whether this is just getting started decluttering or if you're kind of in a rut. And these are just 3 words, really simple, easy to remember. First, I want to address people that are having a really hard time getting started. And I think that a lot of this overwhelm comes from kind of being worried that you're going to get rid of things that you're going to need later. Being worried that you're going to get rid of things that you are just going to want later. And so it's hard to even start. So what I want you to tell yourself for this is mistakes are expected. And that is the truth. When you are decluttering a large volume of stuff, and sometimes even a small volume of things, it is absolutely expected to make a mistake here and there. And don't let that stop you from decluttering, because it is absolutely going to be expected. And you just have to know this. If you're going to be decluttering, you are probably going to get rid of something that you might kick yourself about later, but do not let this stop you from starting the process. So mistakes are expected. Remember that and just begin. This next one seems so cliche, but it's a little bit deeper than it might seem at first, and that is, it's just stuff. I think sometimes we don't really think that our stuff has feelings, but we have feelings associated with the stuff. So we could get like guilt, or we can feel just really bad in general. We might have guilt because we should never have bought that in the first place. We wasted money. We made a careless decision. We did not use the item that we bought, and we were lazy, or whatever it could be. So we have these like really strong feelings attached to our stuff, but your stuff doesn't have feelings. It's just stuff. So if you can tell yourself this, it's just stuff, it doesn't have feelings, that can be really helpful. I have this gorgeous 3-tiered serving platter that I have had in storage just because I have guilt getting rid of it. You see the dust that is accumulated on this. Part of the guilt about getting rid of this item is that A, I think it's really beautiful. B, it was a gift from my mom. So in the case of this item, this is tough for me to get rid of. Again, I just think it's gorgeous, and I have like a desire to use it, but I just never have. So I have to now realize that it is not serving its purpose staying in my home. Now I could hang on to it through the holidays and just say, I'm gonna use this for Thanksgiving and to do like a hot cocoa bar this winter. And that's fine. I need to give myself a time limit though. If there's something that you really love the idea of using, like I love this, but do I really if I'm not using it? I love the idea of using this. I have to be really honest with myself. Then I need to give myself a time limit. Here we are at the holiday season coming up. So if I don't use this, I'm going to say at least twice through the next couple of months, then I have to let it go. And I can do that guilt-free because it's just stuff. I can put my feelings about this aside, the fact that my mom gave it to me, the fact that I think it's beautiful, And the guilt that I have over not using it, I'm going to set that aside and say it's just stuff. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to get rid of this again. I'm going to give myself a chance, but I'm not going to give myself forever because that's not fair to me. All right, here's another example of something that I have loved and loved and loved, but I'm having a hard time getting rid of, and here's why. I absolutely loved decorating with this in my old house. I thought it was so cute, and I have happy memories of my kids being excited when I pulled this out. Does it match my current home and my current style? No, it is not serving me anymore, and it is just stuff. I still have the memories, so I'm gonna let somebody else use this and just remind myself it's just stuff. The next thing that you can ask yourself or even tell yourself with items that you are struggling with is this replaceable? You can ask that as a question, but you can also use it as a statement, especially if you're really struggling. This is replaceable. So yes, I know that I can replace this for under $20 because actually the sticker's still on it and I paid $14.99. So even though I think, that is a lot of money, I would love to have my $14.99 back, and I would not want to buy this again. If I really, really had a need, I could either borrow it for free from a neighbor or a friend or something very similar, or I could go back and buy it. So I can go ahead and say, yes, this is replaceable and it is not serving me anymore. So I can go ahead and pass it on. And you can also think of this, it is replaceable, as in if I need like a tray, do I have something else that could serve as that? Like, could I use the cutting board, my beautiful wooden cutting board, to replace this? Or could you go without it entirely? Let's talk about sentimental items. This is, in my opinion, the hardest category to declutter. Let me know if you agree. So I'm going to use 5 words for this. This is my senior ball catalog, and it has like all these different pages of all the people that went to senior ball on May 11th, 2002. There's one page that has a tiny picture of me and my date. I have been holding on to this entire catalog, well, since 2002, a very, very long time. So here's the question I'm going to ask myself. Did it serve its purpose? Yes, I had a really, really fun time. Especially right after this came out, looking at it. Has it served its purpose since? No. So I can just let it go, guilt-free. I don't need to keep that. What I'm gonna do though is find my picture and grab my phone and just do a little zoom in action and snap a photo. Good, great, done. Now I don't need to feel bad that I'm getting rid of the picture of me and my date of 2002. I can just let it go. Now let's talk about this. This is a little Christmas music box that I have had since I was about 2 years old. This is something that I absolutely cherish. However, it doesn't work anymore. I actually just realized just now, I'm pulling it out, that it doesn't play anymore. But I can get rid of it now, knowing that it served its purpose. But I'm happy as well that we all got to love and enjoy it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a picture of this. It's so broken. Now I can let it go because it served its purpose. This sweet little music box that I will remember forever. So ask yourself, did it serve its purpose? It's okay if you cry. You can cry as much as you want. This is tough. Feel your emotions. It's all right. This has happy, really, really happy memories associated with it. So I'm not going to feel bad. I'm going to let myself cry. And then I'm going to be so grateful that it served its purpose, and I am going to let it go, because what I don't want is clutter in my home. I don't want expensive clutter, sentimental clutter, mental clutter. I want to get rid of all forms of clutter. So it served its purpose. I can say goodbye. Instead of waiting until you get into the decluttering process to decide what you're going to keep, decide first. If you're decluttering the kitchen, say, I'm going to declutter duplicates and only keep the best of each category, or I'm only going to use the things that serve me at least once a month. Everything else gets decluttered. Before you go in to declutter your closet, say something like, I'm only going to keep the items in my closet that I fit into right now and I wear regularly. If you're going to be decluttering toys, decide first. Let's say I'm only going to keep open-ended toys, or toys that don't require batteries, or toys that don't make large messes. So decide first what your criteria is for the toys, and that will make getting rid of everything else a lot easier and faster. Books can be really tough, and we often feel like in order for us to be well read or look like we prioritize education, we need to keep them all. This is just not the case. So maybe set a priority that you're only going to keep the books that you reference often or that you love to reread. An acronym that you can use to help you know what to do to declutter quickly is DASH. If you're feeling stuck or you don't know what to do, just declutter duplicate items. Anything that you have multiples of that you really don't need. Oftentimes we feel like we have to keep a backup or multiple backups of everything just in case. This scarcity mindset or fear of not having an item when we need it can really hang us up. We generally don't need more than one backup, if any backup at all. Remember the 20-20 rule of minimalism, which I think is so effective. If you can get the item in 20 minutes or less from where you are right now for $20 or less, this is something you're on the fence about, go ahead and declutter it. I always like to veer on the side of decluttering more versus decluttering less, just because you will reap so many more benefits by having less inventory in your home. Assign a limit or a boundary to everything. This can be another really helpful thing to do if you're feeling stuck and you just don't know what to do. Make sure you are recognizing and respecting the boundaries of your home. There are boundaries that have already been set within the walls of our space. Every cupboard is a physical and literal boundary, but also specific totes or baskets, any kind of bag or bin that you have, let that be a boundary. I have these in my daughter's room. She loves toys and I think it's so sweet. She loves dress ups and stuffed animals, but she has these two baskets and I know that they are at their limit. Meaning if she gets another dress up costume or if she gets another stuffed animal, we're gonna have to do the one in, one out rule because we've reached the limit or the boundary of that space, and we're gonna respect that. So these could be bins that you already have in your home. This is your limit. Assign a limit to everything and respect that boundary. Set a timer. This is so effective. I love going into full beast mode. Having a specific soundtrack that you only listen to when you're decluttering can also be really effective. This is an experiment that was done on dogs. I think it's called Pavlov's dogs, and these dogs were trained to drool at the sound of a bell. The bell indicated that they were going to be fed, and it's amazing. I know we're not dogs, but I know that we have the same kind of chemical reaction in our brain when we hear something that reminds us of a certain action if we only hear that thing when that action is done. So if you have a soundtrack that you just listen to when you're decluttering, as soon as you turn that on, you're gonna feel more motivated, more inspired, and you're gonna go into beast mode. I have this candle that I have had in my cupboard for months, and it's one of those things that I haven't really known what to do with. I like it, but I don't love it. Have I burned it? No. Have I had the opportunity to burn this? Yes, I have. But the truth is, I actually passed this over for other candles, even though I've had multiple chances and opportunities to burn this item. So asking yourself, have I had the opportunity to use the item can be incredibly helpful in making fast decisions. You can apply this to anything. Have I had the opportunity to wear this top? Yes, I've had the opportunity many times, but I don't love the way it fits. I love another top even more, so I keep passing over this one. Another one for H as a bonus is to handle it once. Let's say you come across the candle, you say, I don't love this, it's not my favorite, it. I'm going to put it in the donate right now. I'm not going to set this aside to think about it a little bit more. No, you're making quick decisions. You're only keeping items that you use or that you absolutely know for a fact you're going to use. You just forgot about them because you were buried in your space. So in this case, you're going to handle it once. Either keep it if you love it and go put it away right now. This is instant decluttering progress. So you can have somebody relocate it for you. This is where your kids can come in really handy. If you've got somebody home, have a relocator. It's okay though if you don't have anybody decluttering with you. This is your steps for the day. Count it as part of your exercise. Just relocate this item to where you would look for it first or where you would use it. If you're somebody who works really well under pressure and setting the timer is something that you've noticed that works really well for you, or maybe you've never tried it and you're going to do an experiment, but let's say you're using the timer to declutter quickly today. You can just go full beast mode for a set amount of time, but if you want to break this down even more specifically, set the timer for 1 minute. You're going to look for trash in the first 1 minute. Timer goes off and you are moving on. Set the timer for 5 minutes on your next go around. You're going to make 2 piles, one which is donate and one which is relocate. When that timer goes off, you're going to spend 4 minutes relocating the items. Do it again if you felt like, oh my gosh, I've got tons more energy. Set that 1 minute, 5 minute, and 4 minute timer again, or do this every single day for the next month as a challenge. You will be mind blown how much you can actually accomplish in just 10 minutes. Another strategy for decluttering quickly comes from the Minimal Mom, who is an awesome inspiration. I will have her channel linked down below. But when she talks about overwhelming spaces, decluttering overwhelming spaces, I love her approach, and it really does help you declutter more quickly. You're actually going to do this in a couple of steps. The first one being you're going to put everything into separate piles based on like items. So all the books in one pile, all the art supplies in one pile, all the clothing items and the toys in another pile. And it really helps you see exactly how much you have. This also reminds me a little bit of Marie Kondo. It's where you really use this visual cue to let yourself know, oh my gosh, my pile of books is massive. Maybe I can actually declutter several, or I've got a lot of t-shirts in this pile. I can probably get rid of a few, the few that I wear the least often, and just keep my favorites. You can also just spend one day setting everything into piles. Then the next day, you're going to tackle one pile as a quick project. I'm just going to tackle all the paper clutter from this room as fast as I can. Set your timer so you can like double down on these tips. But having everything in categories or in piles actually makes the project seem less overwhelming, and it's more straightforward what you actually have and what you need to do. The 80-20 rule states that most people use about 20% of their possessions 80% of the time, or 80% of people's productivity comes from roughly 20% of their effort. The 80-20 rule is generally used in business, like 80% of income or new leads come from 20% of their employees. It's amazing how this applies to so many different things. But when you realize that you're really only using about 20% of the stuff in your house 80% of the time, again, it helps you make faster decisions. Well, if this is true, 80% of the time you use about 20% of your possessions, which is true for most all people, then chances are you're not going to miss it and you can let the item go. Mel Robbins also came up with the 5-second rule, and I love how this applies to decluttering quickly. She says that when we have the instinct to do anything, work out, cook dinner, declutter our space, whatever it could be, we need to act within the first 5 seconds or our brain will actually kill our motivation. Oh my goodness, I know this is true. I've experienced this so many times in my life. So when you feel just the tiniest spark of inspiration or motivation to declutter, act within 5 seconds. I have another video here on the screen for more inspiration. I will see you over there. Bye.